it's Holly. Welcome to another story time video. This is another episode of the Don't Be Like Holly series where I screw everything up and you have a chance to learn from my mistakes. It's wonderful. It works out perfectly, doesn't it? And as you've seen in the title, today I'm going to tell you the story of how my car exploded in the middle of the desert. So buckle your seatbelts, get yourself a nice beverage or a snack, and let's get this video started, shall we? Let's turn back the clock to when I was around 19 years old. I was studying at Azusa Pacific University in California. I was driving a car that was not my own. It was a loaner. My parents had loaned it to me. It was a 1987 Oldsmobile that we had named Clarence. Now, I finished my first year of college in South Carolina and I decided that I wanted to transfer to California. And my parents let me borrow the Oldsmobile because it had been given to them and they were moving back to Mexico and it all worked out perfectly. So I had this car. It had given me a few issues. It was definitely a little on the clunky side, but I was grateful to have transportation. Now this story, like many of my stories, as you'll notice, begins with a phone call from my dad. He told me that he was gonna be in Arizona and that we needed to register Clarence in Arizona under his name and that I really should take a few days off, drive over there, and get all of the paperwork sorted out. So, you know, no big deal. I requested a few days off from my posh job at the Olive Garden and proceeded to traverse the tremendous terrain between LA and Tucson. About 8 hours, driving at the speed limit, and in my case, with no air conditioning. Because that's right, one of Clarence's many ailments was the fact that the AC had gone out several months before that. And so there I was, driving through the desert, alternating between having the windows up, waiting for the car to turn into an absolute sauna, sweating like a pig, not being able to handle it anymore, rolling down the windows, dealing with the blasts of air from the hot desert, basically wrecking my eardrums, deciding I couldn't take it anymore, rolling the windows up, starting to sweat like a pig again in the sauna, and so on and so forth. Now, I'm no expert in the field of mechanics, but I will say that that car felt a little off, according to my calculations. Whenever I step on the gas, it felt like something just wasn't grabbing correctly, and there would be kind of like some weird noises in there, but I was like, you know what? What do I know? I just need to keep my foot on the gas and get my butt to Tucson. And that's what I proceeded to do. Luckily, I arrived safely. I was able to share with my dad that I felt uncomfortable in the car. I felt like something was off. I felt like we should definitely check out the engine. And he seemed to take my concerns seriously, but the next day when we drove to get the car registered, my dad went ahead and took the wheel. And you should have seen his face. He was so ecstatic because this car, I mean, have you driven this car? It drives like a dream. I don't know what you're talking about. I wish I had this car. I mean, do you want to switch? This is amazing. Oh, I was just like, driving like a dream? That's a little much, okay? Anyway, we get the car registered. We do everything that we need to do. I say hi to my friends. I have a little heyday, whatever. And then I proceed to prepare myself for the long trek home. I do believe I stayed like 1 or 2 days in Tucson, but the point is I couldn't miss that many days at the good old Olive Garden, and it was time to get back. So I loaded up with snacks and ice water, and I went on my merry way up the 10 toward Phoenix, and then I was gonna head on over to Los Angeles. Well, when I'm about an hour and a half out of Tucson, I start hearing some very odd noises, and they start to intensify. It's all coming from under the hood in the engine, and it sounds a little something like this. And I'm like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, what does this mean? Well, you know what? I'm just gonna step on that gas and keep on going because what other option do I have? Parentheses, I didn't even have a cell phone at this time, even though cell phones did exist. Let's just say I was a little old school. So I keep stepping on the gas, and all of a sudden, smoke starts pouring out of the engine, surrounding the car, completely engulfing me, and I'm just like, what am I supposed to do? I see a sign out of the corner of my eye that says food and gas 1 mile, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna be that girl that's stranded by the side of the road by herself in the hot, hot summer heat. And so I continued to step on that gas, and I'm like, just 1 more mile, Clarence, you got this, come on now. And as we continue to advance on that desolate desert highway as fast as we can, everything's just like noises, smoke, dust, mayhem. Okay, let me explain to you guys. We arrive at the exit, okay? And at this point, the car is not going faster than 50 miles an hour. I have the pedal to the metal and it just won't give me any more than that. It comes up like this, and then in order to get to the gas station, you have to go over the freeway, and it's down over here. So I'm sitting here chugging at 50 miles an hour. I'm like, I will not brake for anything because I have to use all of my inertia to get to that gas station. And so I'm chugging, 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 turn left, chugging, 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 and all of a sudden, the engine goes completely out, and of course the smoke and the fizzing and the noises are like, I mean, that car was an absolute rolling disaster, kind of like me. And as I'm about to swing down into the gas station, I notice that there's a semi coming at me, and I'm like, dude, if I don't take this opportunity, I will not make it to the gas station. So I just go boom right in front of the semi, and boom, he goes right past me, and I'm not even exaggerating, y'all. Okay, I arrive at the gas station. There's smoke everywhere. I get out of the car as fast as I can, and I walk into that building, and thank the good Lord, there is air conditioning. Oh, it feels so good, it feels so good, it feels so good. And there's 3 ladies here that can help me because I don't have a phone and I obviously have to talk to somebody. So I walk up to them. It's 3 Asian ladies who are having this amazing chat that they really don't want to interrupt, apparently, because no matter what I said to them, they just didn't seem to care. I was like, hey, I'm so sorry. My car just exploded and I don't have a cell phone, so I was payphone outside. The thing is, I don't have any cash, so I was just wondering if maybe, what if I buy something and then you payphone outside? Right, okay, what if I buy something and then you charge me more with my credit card? Can I pay with my credit card and then you could let me use your phone? Payphone is outside. Oh no, this is not gonna work. This is not gonna work. Oh. I go back out to my car and I decide to lift up the hood, the universal sign of somebody please help me. And I just kind of stood there looking miserable for a few minutes. Nobody came by. Finally, a man comes, parks right next to me, walks right by, doesn't seem to care about my predicament. I go back in to talk to these ladies and I'm like, hey, I don't know if there's anything that you can do to help me, because like if you want to go see my car, like it's still steaming, like it's not working anymore. I don't have a payphone outside. Okay. They are not gonna help me. So I go back out to my car, I'm standing there looking distraught at this engine, and all of a sudden, a car rolls up with 4 teenage boys hanging out of it, and they're like, hey mommy, how you doing? What's going on? And I'm like, how am I doing? Does this give you any clue as to how I'm doing? They're like, are you a model? And I'm like, no, I'm not a model. My car exploded, so I'm trying to figure out, how I'm gonna get out of that situation. And they're like, oh damn, okay. They park, they get out of the car. One of the guys immediately goes up to the coolant and unscrews it, and boom, it all comes shooting out. And I'm like, oh my goodness, even I knew that you're not supposed to do that. And he goes, you got air in your coolant, that's your problem. I'm like, oh, seriously, if these guys are here to help me, I think I'm better off alone. But all of a sudden, they suggest pushing me to a mechanic shop. Now, this sounded a little far-fetched until they told me where the mechanic shop was. It was literally right next to the gas station. So I was like, sure, yeah. So they all rolled up their sleeves and pushed the car on over to the mechanic shop. I guess it was a mechanic shop now that I think about it. All I remember is that they let me use their phone. I don't remember speaking to an actual mechanic, and I don't remember actually going into a room with air conditioning, but there was a phone and I was able to call my aunt because I know her number by heart, so that was a win for me. And I was so happy when she answered and I was able to tell her everything that I had gone through and ask her if she would be willing to come pick me up. She said, absolutely, oh honey, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, if you talk to my dad, could you let him know that the car was in fact in terrible condition? Just in case he was wondering. So So I hang up the phone with Aunt Pam. She says she's gonna be on her way in about 15 minutes. And the guys are like, hey, so what did she say? And I'm like, well, she's gonna come get me. And they're like, oh, okay. So what are you gonna do until she gets here? And I'm like, what am I gonna do for an hour and a half? I probably can't go into the gas station because these ladies are gonna kick me out. They don't wanna see my face again. And they had a wonderful solution for me. They said, hey, do you want a tour of the town? And I was like, yeah, I do. And so I proceeded to get into the car with 4 complete strangers, 4 teenage boys that I had met half an hour before. They started off by taking me to the school. Yes, the one and only school in this town. It was where they had all gone to elementary, middle, and high school. And yeah, it was cool. We didn't get out because obviously it's like 110 degrees outside. So I was like, all right, cool. And then they start driving to a residential trailer type of area. And all of a sudden, the guy who was driving stops, and 3 of the guys start getting their stuff and getting out of the car. And I'm like, what's going on? And the driver says, oh yeah, they have to go. And I'm like, okay, well, bye guys. Thanks for everything. Nice to meet you. Okay. And so then it's just me and the driver. And I'm like, hey, so, I mean, you can totally take me back to the gas station. I'll just wait for my aunt. I mean, it should just be like another, hour and a half, hour 15. It's fine. I'm sure you had other things to do today. And he's like, no, I want to take you somewhere else. I'm like, okay. And so he starts driving kind of away from everything into the mountains. And I'm like, where are you taking me? And he's like, oh, it's going to be the best view you've ever seen. And I'm like, okay, well, I do like a good view. You know what I'm saying? So we keep driving. I honestly don't remember what the conversation was about, and my radar should have probably gone off at this point because I am literally with a stranger in the middle of nowhere. Nobody knows of my whereabouts. The only inkling of an idea that anyone has is my aunt knowing that I was at mile marker 151 and she could probably find the exploded car. But other than that, nobody would have known how to get a hold of me. But here we are, winding further and further into the desert until we finally get to this clearing. I wouldn't say it was at the top of a mountain. It was kind of like a high hill, if you will. He parks the car, comes around, opens the door for me, and he's like, you've got to check this out. And I must say, it was an absolutely stunning view. You could see the vast expanse of the desert every which way you looked. The sky so bright and blue, the cactus everywhere, the mountain ranges, just absolutely stunning. And at this point, the guy starts to get really sentimental with me, and he starts to talk about destiny and how he believes things happen for a reason and how it's just so strange and cool that, my car happened to explode where it did and that they happened to go by right at the time when I was looking for help. And I was like, yeah, I really am so grateful that you guys helped me. Thank you for giving me a tour of the town and entertaining me because it would have been kind of boring and hot. But then he started to get really sentimental and he started to talk about how his dad was in jail and that his childhood had been really tough. And he actually pulled out a letter, and it was handwritten by his dad. It was very, very clearly a letter from jail, just very embellished letters and kind of poor spelling and grammar. And the dad was basically pouring his heart out and saying, I'm so sorry for not being there for you, son. And I wish I hadn't missed out on so many important moments in your life. And I wish I had been a better dad for you. And all of this stuff. And I'm just sitting here on a rock in the middle of the desert next to this guy who's getting really sentimental on me. You guys, he was about to cry. And I'm just sitting here like, wow, I think he really, really needed to get this off his chest. And, for some reason, he felt comfortable doing this with me. And then he started to transition it all towards me again. And he started to tell me that he had never felt what he was feeling for me, and he just could tell that I was such a special person and that it seemed so meant to be that we had coincided in this way, and it was so unique and crazy, but just so perfect. And I was just like, I really feel like it's probably time to head back. I didn't want to make the guy mad, but I really started to feel uncomfortable at this point. And he was like, I like you so much. Don't you feel the same way? And I was like, I think you're really cool. I don't see you that way. At one point I remember I was just looking out at the view and kind of wondering how I was gonna get out of this situation when he came up to me from the back and tried to give me a hug, and I was just like, honestly, I feel uncomfortable. I need to go. And I was finally able to tell him to get me the heck out of there! Thankfully, he got the message and agreed to take me back to the gas station. Seriously, this could have gone so wrong. I am just so grateful that nothing happened despite my terrible decision-making skills. Dude from the desert, thank you for pouring your heart out. I appreciate that you were vulnerable with me and that you felt comfortable enough to share those things with me. And thank you for respecting my wishes when I asked you to take me back. That's how it should be, and I'm just grateful that you weren't some creep, because that could have ended very differently. But guys, not everyone's gonna respect your wishes. It's not necessary to put yourself in a situation where you test some stranger's integrity and character. It's just not worth it. So homeboy takes me back to the gas station, my aunt comes to pick me up, she sees the car, she's absolutely shocked. We end up calling the mechanic later on and he officially declares it dead. We end up actually leaving poor Clarence there. And the saddest part of this entire story is that I don't remember the satisfaction of telling my dad that Clarence indeed did have a few issues and he exploded on me in the middle of the desert. I'm gonna have to ask him next time I see him how that conversation went down and how I told you so my attitude was. I would love to know. I wonder if he remembers. I wonder if I even got to tell him. But guys, that about concludes today's video. Definitely there are about 17 reasons why you shouldn't be like me in this story. Number one, if your car explodes in the middle of the desert, you might want to just let off of that accelerator, stop the car, and make a phone call. And if you don't have a phone, just try to stay safe. And if somebody pulls over to help you, yeah, I mean, you gotta take whatever help you can get, right? But definitely learn to let off on the accelerator when you're having engine trouble. You know what I'm saying? And if 4 random guys invite you to take a tour of their town in the middle of the desert, you might wanna say no thanks. Stay safe and stay smart, my friends. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Let me know in the comments if you've gone through anything similar to this. I would love to hear your stories. Hopefully you handled yourselves a little bit better than I did. That's it for today, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye. Noises, smoke, dust,